Ajayi, Aramoto, Marogwe, Mushino, yeah. You go play with your patience. Clean out, I no like pretense. I want the blessings within my location, oh. Bad mind in my circumference. They go do, they go yarn nonsense. I know send that they for high vibration, oh. Malola, Marale, Ajayi, Aramoto, Amarogwe, Bushiloto, Malola, Marale, Ajayi, Aramoto, Amarogwe, Bushiloto. Celebration, jubilation.
Hello, good afternoon, good evening. This is Toyin. You must see it's been a while. It's been a minute that I last came online. And so, how are you? Depending on where you're joining from. Such a pleasure to be here. If you're watching live, just drop a note and say hello. Let's know where you're joining from. Today, I have a very fantastic topic. I hope you can hear me clearly. We're going to be talking about wealth creation. Yes, I see you. I you like the song, right? Yeah, that's Joe Celebration. I really like it, the music. I did give credit there. So if you look at the description, I have the name. If you're interested in reading or watching the full track, it's really a fantastic track. It's unclear. Okay, let's make sure I work on everything technical. Can you hear me clearly? Is this better? Because I actually got an upgraded mic. So this should be fine. Can you hear me better now? You said the sound is unclear. Can you hear? Okay, maybe I need to get closer. Echoing. Okay, I'm listening to you. Can you hear me better? Is this better? I hope so. Let me know before I continue. You said there's an echo. It's been a while since I went live, so maybe something needs to be reset here. How about now? I hope it's better. Okay, let me start again. My name is Toyin Umesiri. Such an honor to be here. If you're joining live, just let me know where you're joining from. Today we have a very amazing topic: wealth creation in retail, business, trade, and investment. And one of the things is that I think I engage with more people than an average person does because of my work. I've had the honor of hosting over 100 knowledge experts from around the world. Like those are the really at the leading front of advancing economic development around the world, from World Bank to US government to African government. So there's a knowledge base, really. There's a knowledge base. Okay, you said the echo has stopped, but it's low. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure this. Because, like I said, this is a new mic, but it's been a while. It's been a minute, several weeks before I went live. So, you know, go with me. Good morning, John. You said it's a little low for you as well. Okay, let's see. Um, is this better? I'm so sorry. I probably should have tested this a few times because it's been a few weeks since I used the setup. Let's see. Maybe I need to increase. Okay, let me take it to the highest volume. This is the highest volume. Is this better? Good morning, John. Thank you so much for joining. So, as I was saying, basically, the knowledge base that I have is heavily informed by engagements with stakeholders from around the world, right? Like from various spaces. Those are the leading front of economic development around the world. So basically, that actually informs, my perspective in terms of wealth creation. Also, my background in serving as a strategist to executives, excuse me, as serving as a strategist to executives at the world's largest company, Fortune 1, Walmart.
that also gives me, some say in terms of directionally when it comes to distribution in retail. I also serve the merchandising, apparel. So part of what I'm doing now, there's a new shift with my work, is I'm merging my two world together. So basically, the retail background, the very deep retail background that I have, the extensive background, and the international trade development background, I'm merging it, and those are the opportunities that I now bring on behalf of the community and the clients that I serve. Like, so that's knowledge base and expertise and network and the rich network. Those are the things that people then get to tap into. So today I wanted to talk about wealth creation because everybody's looking for it. All of the things people are, at least most people, right? Most people, they talk about, okay, starting a business, distributing their product, expanding to new markets, forming partnerships, collaboration. Like, everybody is looking for something, right? But today I wanted to talk about what are the opportunities and what are the challenges when it comes to wealth creation. In the past, I've talked about what I called the misconceptions that people had about wealth creation, like what it is, how long it takes, how do you go about it, all of that. So I've talked about that in the past. What I'm doing today is building on that. So in retail, business, trade, and investments, what does that look like? What are the opportunities? What are the challenges that I've seen? Now, easily you could talk about business and trade being the same thing, but I'm distinguishing business in terms of local business, building your local business where you are and growing. I'm distinguishing it from foreign trade, right? So that's why I separated those two things, because international trade is like the more advanced because it does require extra work in terms of policy management, and all of that, which I'll get into. So basically, again, wealth creation in retail, business, trade, and investments. What are the opportunities and what are the challenges? So let me break it down. In retail, given my background, it's an interesting place. What I would say the number one challenge would be is distribution, right? Everybody, for example, wants to be on a Walmart shelf. And yesterday I was I was on a clubhouse and people were asking me what does it take. And I get to do this, more often than an average person, to say, you because and the reason is because I also led the team that implemented like global sourcing, how Walmart buys the systems, and so I have that resident knowledge in terms of what does it take to get on the Walmart shelf, right? And a lot of times when you realize that a lot of times everybody wants to be there, but the reality is that the preparedness that is required to be able to serve such a big player, a lot of times people are not factoring that in. They think that there's a lot of hand holding that the retailer would be able to do, but the reality is no, right? Because you have to come in prepared. You have to come in prepared with your supply chain expertise, your IT expertise, because the speed to market, the integration, when it comes to technology, ASN, all of those things, EDI, like you have to come in as a savvy person for you to be able to engage with such a key player. Now, there are other methods and things coming in with e-commerce, and that's allowing small time players to quickly unlock value, even with the distribution platforms that they have. So those are the things. So in retail, distribution is probably the key thing that everybody wants. Like, I have a fantastic product, I've made this amazing product that customers want. How do I get on the shelf? How do I distribute it? All of those things. But the reality is that from as a business consultant, sometimes, I always have to share with people, have you also explored other distribution channels? So I have a 6-step process I walk my clients through. And one of it is your sales and distribution channel. Sometimes people are just laser focused on, I only want to work with A. But one thing I always do is explore and open people's minds to a galaxy of options, of market entry or distribution options that is tailored to your size and your capacity, and also the customers you're trying to reach. So, like I said, number one, the challenge in retail is always distribution, being able to connect to a distribution platform, whether if you're in beauty, like Ulta Beauty, or like Sephora or Walgreens, like how do you get on these shelves, whether you're in fashion, apparel, beauty line, like I said, or whatever it is you're selling. Distribution is, let me say, distribution is king. Like how you get to distribute in mass is important. The other thing that also is important is your pricing model and your strategic position, your brand positioning. A lot of times people don't think through that, to say you cannot be wanting to be a luxury brand and then saying you want to be on a Walmart. Like it doesn't match up, right? So if you want to, be positioned as a luxury, mid to luxury brand, the strategy with which you distribute or market or brand your product needs to be different. All of those things. So those are some of the things that we help people think through in order for them to be most successful. Now, when it comes to just business in general, the biggest challenge that I've seen is that people not knowing their customers, right? Not doing a deep dive in terms of who their customers are and what their customers' needs are, and making sure that they are bringing value to their customers. And in order to solve for that, I have this design thinking framework that in fact, this Friday, I'm doing a session for a business in Chicago here, where we're going to walk them through, because they are shifting. Most businesses are pivoting because of COVID, right? The customers have shifted. So if your customer has shifted to digital and you are still doing old school, like when I say old school is 2 years ago. Like the speed at which the world is shifting right now, the business world is shifting. If you're 1 year, 2 years behind in terms of technology, you're really behind, because, and this is not slowing down, right? Because I'm also a trained futurist strategist. The solutions we helped Walmart build 5, 6, 7 years ago, because of the data they had, is one of the reasons they thrived in their omni-channel, merging the digital physical experience for the customer. What Walmart had to do was looking at the strength of their physical footprint, and then realizing, okay, we also have to win digital, but we want the experience of our customer to be uniform, so they can decide to go into a store and they can decide to reach us online, and merging it through pickup and grocery pickups. Those were the things we were talking about 6, 7 years ago. And the funny thing is that some of the things, that the knowledge base that I have, oftentimes it's just like, I don't, when I start talking and I see people's reaction, I'm like, oh, the knowledge I actually have is not common knowledge. I assume that it's common knowledge, but it's not. For example, I was sharing with someone that we actually, I mean, everybody's talking about blockchain today, or digital pickup, or all digital disruption. And I was sharing that we actually had data when I was in the strategy team. We already had data with us 6, 7 years ago that said by 2020, 40% of purchasing power in the United States will be controlled by Generation Z. And those are the digital natives, right? So how they buy, what they buy, is different from baby boomers, their parents or their grandparents. So with them becoming a bigger player when it comes to purchasing power, even globally, right? They are digital natives. They don't know a world without Facebook, Twitter, all of that. Like they were born into that space. So the way they buy, the way they think, the way they move, if you want to be relevant in that, if you want to be relevant to that, um, you know, slice of the population, you have to be digitally minded. Like there's this digital economy right in front of us, right? And just like in the physical economy, you have real estate and trading and buying and business. The digital world is the same. Churches have moved online. Like everything is like a replication of the real world. People are buying and selling in the in that digital economy. Money is being made, wealth is being created. You think about all the bitcoins and blockchain and all of those things happening, all digital. And with COVID, it's actually accelerated the shift into the digital space. The reality is that entities, that are really deep dive into future, they've been talking about this for 6 7 years. A lot of the leaders, they've always known about this um, digital world, because the future of the world has been mapped in a way, right? But a lot of people thought it would take 10, 15, 20 years, and COVID actually accelerated, and fast tracked the shift into digital. So digital is here to stay. The question is, how prepared are you to win in the digital world, right? Because the way you buy and sell, someone was like TikTok, like, you have to dance to sell. Sorry. Oh my gosh. Selling in that world is different, right? Because it's not just about your product anymore. It's getting the attention because it's a noisy space, right? It's getting your real estate and getting your customers to know you, to buy into you. And also, you almost have to educate your customers before they even buy. So, in that new world, it's actually who gets to own the conversation in your space, right? Who shows up to the conversations, who shows up on behalf of their customers. They get to be more prepared to win in that world. So, excuse me, digital is here to stay. You have to acquire the right skills to be able to transition into digital. Leaders have to evolve in terms of the leadership models. We all know you now have to manage remote workers. Not everybody is physically in the same place. So work has also gone digital or remote, right? Not everybody is prepared for it. So how you manage your employees, your staff, even managing up, managing down, communication models also has to change because of the new shift that the world is going into. So leading in the new world is different. Doing business in that world is different. And one thing that I'm seeing now is not everybody is ready for it. In fact, one of the things that I also say is that the old, when I say old, old is like 2 years ago. Like before, when you say old school, it's like 20, 30 years, 1970. No, 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 no. Old is if you're still running your business before, it's like before COVID or after COVID. That's really the shift now. Is pre-COVID or after COVID, right? That's the big shift. Is that, and let me just make sure, please, let me check again. Is the sound doing okay? Okay, I think I know why. Is the sound much better now? I just want to check, do another sound check. Apologies for that. John, are you able to hear me? I hope so. So basically, before COVID, business before COVID and business after COVID, right? Old school is before COVID. Now is like the new way of doing business, right? So again, when it comes to in retail, wealth creation in retail, what I found is that the biggest challenge is distribution. When it comes to building a business in your local community, is how you understand your customer and how you can reach your customer. And I use design thinking framework to actually coach and transition businesses from the old way of serving their customer to also unlocking new business opportunities, business services, new pillars of work within their enterprise, right? Because if you can remap, so you have to do this exercise of, um, mapping your customers again. Why? The customers you used to serve before COVID, they act and behave different today. Their needs have shifted. So you almost have to do this exercise again and reach out if you need support on that. So basically, it's the customer insights of who are my customers, what are they going through now, what are their pain points, what are their aspirations. You have to apply empathy in the new world because people are going through stuff. I was on the call, you know, I was exploring getting a puppy for my kids. And then I called that business and I was like, oh, what's your price range? And these people were like, oh, give us your name, give us your number. We have to fill a form before we even answer your question. I was like, nobody has time for that. Kick. No, I'll have to work with somebody else. And that's one thing people businesses need to realize, that all your sales strategy, your intake processes that you used to have your customers jump through oops, right, before they could get to you, all of those things is going to be losing you business, because there's a lot more impatience. As a customer, I have less tolerance for businesses that makes me go through so many processes before they actually answer my questions. So a lot of times businesses may not realize that they have to revamp and shift their entire sales process, their intake process, their customer acquisition process, because customers today, they are going to be less patient than customers before COVID, because they are going through so much. They don't want to have to worry about spending their money with you. You have to remove friction from that process. You know, the same feedback. I was also working with trying to get some pricing from a vendor, a video vendor. And the process that they still had is what I'll call old school. You go to their website, they put an information, call us, you know, this information is not even available on their website. So they said, fill this form or call us or something like that. You called, nobody, you left a voice message. I also filled the form. Then they tried calling me at the time when I wasn't available. So ping, they didn't reach me. Then I called them back, only for the person I was speaking to say, oh, I'm just collecting information. I cannot answer your question. I have to pass and pack up, and I have to gather the information from you and then pass it on to the person that will get you the information. I'm like, you know what? I cannot be bothered. Don't worry. I will go and find somebody else. So all of the intake processes, customer acquisition processes, you have to change it, guys. You have to change it. In the old world where you make your customers feel, I mean, filling the form intake is great, but make sure it's not 3 steps or 4 steps, right? Make sure it's at least maybe 1 step. They fill that form, you get on the phone, you have to clean up that process. But having your customer, they want to get information from you so that they can make a decision. And then they go to step 1, step 2, step 3. They are wasting their time because they want to spend money with you. That's what I call old school. Nobody's got time for that anymore. Okay. So be careful what you're doing in your business along that line. Even for me, I'm consciously thinking through how to streamline all of that process, making sure it's just one touch, not 2, 3, 4 touch before you actually are able to answer people's questions or engage with people. The other way we do it is, like this live stream. You get closer to your potential clients, to your potential members, or the people you want to serve. You've got to close that gap. You cannot be a distant company that is like, oh, we see you, you're out there, but we don't feel that we can connect with you. We don't feel that we can reach you. We don't feel that you're accessible. And the reality is that I've had this feedback. Like, there was one person that actually DM'd me on Instagram. I think, was it last year or 2 years ago? I can't remember. But basically, our feedback was, Toyin, you're easy to find. I was like, okay, explain what you mean. She said, I was in Europe, right? UK, sitting in my house watching the news, and you were being interviewed on Fox Africa. And I was like, this person is sounding really intelligent and smart. I've, like, whatever she's saying, I want more of that. So she basically took my name just from watching news. She took my name, put it on Google, and then did a search of my name. And she said next thing she saw that I had an Instagram account, and she reached out to follow me on Instagram. I responded back. She DM'd me that she would like to talk. I responded back, and here we are on a phone call. And she was like, how did that happen? Like, how do you go from seeing somebody in your news in Europe, somebody in the US, and you can actually connect with them and get on the phone with them? That's what I'm saying. It's that if in the old world, you want to appear unapproachable, distant, I'm telling you, keep doing that. If you keep doing that, your customers shift. One actor that knows this very well is Will Smith. He's talked about this idea that in the old world, what he used to be required to do was to become an enigma and to be distant, so that when you open a like you only show up at the box office when a new movie, like, people are supposed to see celebrity through the lens of, wow, wow, we don't know anything about you, so we'll rush to watch your movie. In today, that's old school. Today, they want to see what you had for breakfast, lunch, dinner. They want to be a part of your life. If you're going on vacation, it's like, take us along. We want to be a part of your experience. All of that. Celebrities are also shifting. So for businesses that think that the world hasn't shifted, I'm telling you, the next 2 years, more businesses are going to die off, and new businesses that understand this digital economy will rise and ramp up, right? So this is not, it's like internet. So this is not, oh, we'll wait and see, like the stance a lot of businesses are taking. Oh, this is just a phase. It's going to die off. Let's wait and see. People will go back to the old way. No, this is literally, you know, a decision point of whether your business would die or survive or thrive. Like this decision to move into digital. This is key. And it is as important as year 2000 when we had the internet, right? It's as important as internet, right? Remember, before internet came to the scene, there was a way of doing business pre-internet. And as you know today, nobody's even talking about, do you have an email? Because at that time there were a lot of conversations like, email, what is email, right? It's like dial up, right? Access. Businesses struggled at that time to understand, like, why do I have to have a website? Why do I have to have an email account? They struggled big time in moving into internet. That's what I'm saying. Like, this moment in time is feels similar. Something incredibly massive is happening. A lot of businesses are saying it's just a phase, it's going to die off. But the businesses that know what's up, they are shifting. You've got to shift. You've got to shift. Absolutely. There's a question from Adam. Thank you, Adam. He said, if you have any product or services in good price and want to export it to Poland or Europe, you want to be contacted. So here's the thing. Trade, which is the next. So I've talked about retail. I've talked about business. The third one is, what's your question, what you were dropping? Trade, international trade. What are the opportunities and challenges? The opportunities is that you can expand your reach, right? You can export, you can expand your reach. But the opportunities are, how do you strategically position yourself as a trusted partner? Because those who want to export, how do you design local partnerships? Because if you're operating, say, in the US and you want to expand to Africa, as example, the biggest challenge, there's an opportunity for sure, because 95% of consumers live outside of the United States. So the biggest challenge is, how do you conduct your due diligence on potential partners, sales agents, distributors, all of those things that you need them. You're going to need them to expand. Or unless you want to go and open your own office and build out all that infrastructure, right? So, for example, Prosper Africa, what they've told me is that they usually take about 18 months to conduct due diligence for the biggest brands, right? So, because when we also have clients or members that want to tap, into those opportunities with government like US or African government, we have our strategic alliances that we leverage, we tap into on behalf of our members and clients, right? So, the biggest challenge is when you are trying to expand, you need to know policy implications, cross-border. So if you want to go to Canada or Mexico, you have to understand the policies that allows you to do it, the cost, the tariffs, all of those things. But also, like, I have classes, trade and investment facilitation masterclass, that I break all of these things down. export development class that I break all of these things down as well. Because what I'm seeing is that people think it's like magic. You just say, "Oh, I want this. Oh, I want." No, it takes due diligence, and that's why our members, like my members that I coach and I guide, I coach both sides of the transaction, and along that line, they are able to see each other because mindset has to be shifted. Because the other thing I talk about is local economy, regional economy, international economy. The rules of engagement shift. So if you're coming from one local market, say for example, maybe Nigeria, Ghana, Ethiopia, Egypt, right? And then you're in the US or Canada or Europe, and then you want to transact, you have to know that the expectation, the way you buy and sell in your local market is different. The way you think, the way you engage, the way you interact is different. The rules of engagement are different. So until you can see each other's side and get through a lot of the noise, and also build trust, right? Get to know each other, nothing moves. That's what I've seen. Is that nothing moves. No matter what you post and say, oh, reach out to me, nothing moves because people want to verify who you are. Like, who are you? Why should we work with you? Right? Like, who are you? Why should we work with you? What's your reputation in the marketplace? Who can verify that you are the person you say you are? Like, all of those due diligence has to happen. And there are mechanisms to do all of that. So people have to be ready to subject themselves to scrutiny. Because if you're in a local market, you are easily verifiable. People can find your office, people can find you, people can engage with you. But the moment you want to go international, you have to be ready to subject yourself to scrutiny as well. And then in investments, what are the opportunities and challenges? I hope that helps. Um, what I see is that a lot of times investors, they are concentrated in one region of the world, and then investment opportunities are in other regions of the world. How do you do that due diligence and connect the dots? Sometimes those who wish to attract investment, the language they are using is so long. Like, I'm like, you can hear my sound, like the frustration. People say, "Oh, I need investment." I tell them, you're coming to that conversation from a place of weakness. It's like begging for money. What you need to be saying is, I have an investment opportunity with great potential, great ROI. You obviously, you've done your background work, and we would like to share it and present it to investors, because you have to know your the investor community, what they're looking for. They're looking for viable projects, right? And businesses that are scalable and all of those things. And then there are different ways of funding or financing projects, right? Not everything is angel investment. Not everything is venture capital. They're banking. There are different methods, and a lot of times when people come to me, you almost have to educate, and that's why I had to launch the Nazaru Academy. Because while everybody is talking about wealth creation and transactions and all of those things, there's this gap. There's this knowledge gap and awareness that we almost have to invest time in educating people before they can even participate in the opportunity. So that's something that I found myself doing much more: teaching, coaching, guiding, consulting, because people, what people think is not the reality. Oh, I want to be on the Walmart shelf. Really? Let's take a look at your supply chain and your infrastructure and your capacity. And when you take a look at those, you'll be like, well, that's a dream. Let's work on helping you grow where you are so that you can then become, if that's a dream you have. So I always bring people back to reality. I say that's a dream. And dreams are okay. It's good to dream. We are all dreamers. I'm a dreamer. But let's get to work. Right? The other thing I tell people, they'll say, "Oh, I have a business plan." I'm like, great. Just imagine you have a building plan. An architecture just drew the building on the paper. That paper is not a building. You have to still build. You have to still build. Just because you have an idea or you have a dream or an aspiration, yes, put it down, write the vision, make it plain, right? But you have to translate that building drawing to a real building that people can see and buy rooms and buy space in. You see what I'm saying? And along that line, I also tell people, imagine if you have a fantastic architect draw your dream. It looks fantastic, and then you hand that amazing architectural drawing to someone that has never built a building before and say, okay, go to work, go and build that build business. I'm seeing that happen a lot. Oh, and the person will be like, okay, like, you know, I'm a contractor. I've never built any building, but I'll do a fantastic job with your project. This building looks really like the drawing is fantastic. I must confess, I've never. This is my first attempt at constructing a skyscraper, but I promise you, I'll do a good job. I promise you, I'll do a good job. I see a lot of that happening. People say, "Oh, I have a great business idea. I'll figure this out." I just try to share with my members, and I'm being very transparent and direct here. Usually I reserve this directness for people in my membership, in my private community, and on social media. I'm like, hello, I. But this directness is so needed. Is that if this is your first time of building a business, you need to go and sharpen yourself and acquire knowledge. I mean, I'm also saying this is what I've learned. And the things I now teach now is what I wish somebody told me 3, 4, 5 years ago. Because I could have saved, do you know how many years you would have saved? It's taking damn long to figure all of these things. So the knowledge base that I have is based on years and years and years and years of all of these things. So you can decide to you also go on your journey of discovery, right? Because you know more. When people talk about Amazon, Amazon becomes the best because they've had 20 years of perfecting, right? And logistics, people say, oh, logistics. I said, logistics is trial and error. Nobody becomes a master in logistics just overnight. No. The way you become a master is you test, you learn, you test, you unlearn, you relearn, you test. You'll be getting feedback from the marketplace. And over 20 years, you become the leader. You become, because you know much more about the customers, about logistics, and you become the leader. But a lot of times people want to come out of the gate and say, oh, I can compete. No, you have to pay the price. Either you pay consultants, like myself, to guide you and bring that knowledge, right? Either you have to pay something. It's either you pay in time to learn and grow and expand, or you pay to acquire the knowledge because we all, excuse me, because we all get to build based on the information and knowledge we have. And when there is knowledge gap, you know, um, it's the saying of when we know better, we do better. And that's what I see a lot of in the community. So it's something I've been doing a lot more. I'm spending more time coaching, guiding, through my memberships or through my consulting services, things like that. So yeah, I just wanted to come out today to share wealth creation. What are the opportunities, challenges in retail, in business, in international trade, and in investments? It's a lot. I know it's a lot, but usually, when people come to me, we can then tailor it based on their need, and we can go deeper. So it's been a pleasure. That's it. Any questions? If no questions, that's it for today. But feel free to email me if anything else comes up. info@toyinyumesiri.com. I'm the CEO of Nazaru, founder Trade with Africa Summit, a business consultant, market entry consultant as well. It's been an honor. I've spent years acquiring all of this knowledge, like, oh my goodness. And now it's like it's such an honor to build programs for the community I serve and the clients I serve, also connecting them to decision makers, retailers, governments, all of those. It's an overkill. Like the work that we've done or the work that I've done, sometimes I'm like, God, like, did you like there must be really some incredible shifts I have to put into some people's business because not everybody has to go this big. But it's been an honor. And I get to bring all of that wealth of knowledge, expertise, and connections on behalf of the people we serve. So awesome. Thank you, Shola. Appreciate it. There's so much more going on behind the scene, but I just wanted to appear. I don't remember, maybe 2, 3 weeks I've not been online, but there's some things I want to put in place. There's some new speakers I'm lining up. Oh my goodness, you'll be amazed. Like Institutes for the Future, We're going to be talking about like the future of work, future of retail, whether in Africa or here as well. So I'm merging my two worlds. And you'll be seeing me more as Toyin, Toyin the expert. Okay, I think that's for me. After all the work I've done and things we've built, I've also had to do an internal evaluation and shift to say, what is the biggest value that I can bring to the people I serve, right? What is the biggest value that Tony offers the world? What is the biggest value? And my conclusion is really my perspective, my expertise, and the network of knowledge experts and stakeholders in government, investment, trade, business that I have. Like, whether it's retail, I'm still super connected to the retail community around the world's largest retailer. They still call me, Toyi, we see what you're doing with Africa. How do we plug in? How do we come in? All the suppliers are around that. So retail, like from coffee to chicken, like the leaders in that space, super connected to that world because that's the world I came from. When it comes to African leadership, government leadership, US government, stakeholders, like I sit at the intersection of all of these amazing things. And the internal shift that I've made is realizing that a lot of people need that push, they need that influence, they need that reach, they need to expand their reach, they need that expertise, they need that knowledge. So I personally have shifted how I deliver on those things. So I'm moving more into more of a knowledge expert consulting role and bringing that on behalf of the people I serve. So it's like unlocking value for them. The things, the shifts that they need in their business is showing up for them. So this Friday, I'll be working with an agency and doing a thinking workshop. I'll see if I can take a few pictures if they allow me, and I'll share that. So I look forward to it because my design thinking expertise does, it can't go to waste. I use it to build Nazaru. I use it to serve. I use it with my trade network and trade summits and all of those things. I use my systems mindset. I'm a certified SAP consultant. I've been that for since 2006. Basically, what I just decided to do over the last couple of years is to head down solve for Africa. And now that I've done that, that work is complete. We have the platforms, the reach. Those who want to key into that, join the membership. You unlock value for yourself. But now I'm merging my two worlds into like retail, back to retail, baby. Retail, business, trade, and investment. So that's the shift I've had to make, and happy to be of support. Thank you again for being here. That's it. That's it for today. I'm lining up some amazing speakers from Institute of the Future in California. We're having a conversation. I need to even reply that email. Tomorrow, I'm teaching at Lagos Business School, Pan Atlantic University. So I'm teaching more. I'm speaking more. I'm speaking next week because, again, the knowledge base, I think it's a game changer. The perspective we have, haven't hosted over 100 leading experts from World Bank, like investors, like Walmart CEO, all of those things. It does shape my perspective about what people are trying to do and how they can do it faster. Whether it's digital, I was part of digital acceleration for Walmart, all of those things. So anyway, thank you so much. I'm going to leave you with this music as well from Joe Celebration. It's a new beat. I'm pumped. It's really anyway. If you're from Yoruba in Nigeria, you know the what it means. But if not, just enjoy the sound. Okay. I look forward to hearing from you again. Email me info at Toyin Mesiri if you have any question. And do check out also my newsletter. It goes out to thousands and thousands of people every single week. And today I talked about Jumia. Jumia joined, they've joined actually for a couple of weeks. I just decided to make that more public. So our members have been connecting with them, setting up meetings with them. So Jumia has okay, let me quickly share. So Jumia has logistics footprint in 11 African countries. So they help distribute products for medium, small, and large enterprises. And by joining our network, our members can easily now connect with them and leverage their platform. So let me show you quickly. To learn more and join the network, Nazaru Trade with Africa Network is nazaru.trade, www.nazaru.trade. So that's my other work. So I'm merging my life. So I have my Africa work, let me put it this way, my Africa work, and then I have my non-Africa work, and I'm moving both forward as well. I've solved for Africa, I've studied for years. This platform is a game changer. We're bringing resources into that space. We're bringing government resources, private sector resources, unlocking value in that space. So if you want to be a part of Trade with Africa, that's the space. But then I'm freeing myself to fly into other things I love to do, which is a lot of retail logistics stuff. So my job is done in the sense of what I set out to do when I left Walmart. I feel so thankful to God. Like I feel accomplished. Like that era is done. It's here. The solution is in place. And now Toyin is free to pursue other interests, which is more as a business consultant, helping other people unlock value. So the same skill set that it took me to build is what I now offer people. And because I've finished building, I can flex more, I can relax more, I can I can smile more, because when you're in that phase of figuring things out and building a new company from scratch, I don't have time for that. So I'll be showing up more with knowledge experts and bringing more value to the people that I serve. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Malo, Malola, Marale, Marale, Ajayi, Maramoto, Amano, Quebo, Shilutu, Malo, Malola, Marale, Marale, Ajayi, Maramoto, Amano, Quebo, Shilutu. Yeah. You go clear with your patience. Clean out, I no like pretense. I want the blessings within my location, oh. Bad mind in my circumference. They go do, they go yarn nonsense. I know send that they for high vibration, oh. Malola,